Are you really listening or just waiting to speak? The habit that silently destroys more relationships than any argument, and almost nobody notices it. Good morning. In our last conversation, we explored two frameworks that change how we understand influence. Cooley's mirror, the self-image built by other people's eyes, and Aristotle's three pillars of genuine persuasion. We understood that real communication goes far beyond words. But today, we go to the root of something even more fundamental, a habit so common and so invisible that it operates inside the closest relationships in your life every single day, without a name, without a warning, and with consequences that accumulate in silence. In Morocco, this shows up in ways that are deeply familiar. The dinner table, where everyone is physically present but mentally in their phone, the parent who every time their child tries to share something difficult immediately jumps to advice, to comparison, to solution, and the child slowly stops trying, not out of rebellion, out of resignation. The couple where one partner talks and the other is already constructing their counter-argument before the sentence ends. The friend who asks, "How are you?" and starts talking about themselves before you finish answering. We have normalized this. We call it conversation. But what it actually is for the person on the other side is the quiet and repeated message. What you feel is not worth my full attention. You are not worth my full presence. And people do not forget that message. They may not name it, but they feel it, accumulate it, and eventually they stop sharing. The most painful silence in a relationship is not when people stop talking. It is when they stop trusting that anyone is truly listening. Gottman, the psychologist who has spent over 40 years studying what makes relationships survive or collapse, identified four communication patterns that predict the end of a relationship with startling accuracy. He called them the four horsemen: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. The most destructive of the four is contempt, not anger. Contempt because anger still treats the other person as an equal. Contempt doesn't. Contempt is the silent or spoken message. You are beneath me. Your words, your feelings, your perspective, they don't deserve my genuine attention. Contempt doesn't always arrive as an insult. Sometimes it arrives as an eye roll, a dismissive sigh, looking at your phone while someone is speaking, finishing this sentence for them, giving a response that shows you heard the words but completely ignored the feeling. Gottman found that the presence of contempt in a relationship, even occasional, even mild, was the single greatest predictor of separation. Not conflict, not disagreement. Contempt because it doesn't damage the relationship. It communicates that the relationship itself is not worth the effort of genuine presence. Science confirms what the heart already knows. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Family Psychology found that couples who reported feeling consistently unheard showed 67% higher rates of separation than those who felt understood, regardless of how often they argued. It was not conflict that broke them. It was the chronic absence of genuine listening. Research from UCLA found that feeling unheard activates the same regions of the brain as physical pain. Your nervous system does distinguish between a broken bone and the repeated experience of not being truly seen by someone you love. And the Harvard study from 2024 found that across cultures, ages, and relationship types, active listening was the single most consistently cited factor in long-term relationship satisfaction. Not compatibility, not shared interests, listening. Being truly heard is not a luxury. For the human brain, it is as necessary as safety. So what does it actually mean to listen? Not to reply, not to fix, but to genuinely understand. It means staying in the other person's experience before moving to your own. It means noticing the urge to speak and choosing, at least for a moment, to stay quiet instead. It means reflecting back what you heard before offering your own perspective. Not to repeat their words like a mirror, but to show them, I was there with you. I received what you said. It means asking a question before giving an answer. It means tolerating the discomfort of the pause, because the pause, it is not emptiness. It is the space where the other person realizes they are safe enough to go deeper. True listening is not passive. It is one of the most active, most demanding, and most generous things one human being can offer another. You don't need to overhaul your entire communication style tonight. You need one small, concrete shift. In your next important conversation, put the phone face down. Let the other person finish their thought completely before you respond. And before you respond, ask yourself, did I understand what they were actually feeling or only what they said? Notice the urge to interrupt, not to judge, but to notice. That urge is the habit showing itself. It is pseudo-listening making itself invisible. And the moment you see it clearly, you have already begun to change it. The person who learns to listen fully, not perfectly, but genuinely becomes the person that everyone in their life wants to talk to. Not because they have the best answers, but because they create the rarest feelings in the world, the feeling of being truly heard. We know now what destroys connection in silence, but here is the question that will open everything next time. If empathy is the antidote, is it something you are born with or something you can deliberately build? And if it can be built, where do you start? Come back for the answer.